right, players. So the topic of this video is undermining authority. I don't discuss it. I thought the third part that I made a year and 3 months later, I just listened to that whole thing again, and I don't discuss undermining authority. So if you have watched the first three parts of a rank and file system with the authoritative structure of delegated authority, if you know all that content, the what I'm about to say next will add more to your toolbox if you want to try to implement the most legit uh, uh, leadership structure you could have for a competitive video game that has PvP. It's a rank and file system with delegated authority where on your team all the leadership and all the responsibilities are delegated to specific people where you have, out of all your guys, a lot of the older servers, if you have one alliance and you have everybody on your team, you find the best man for the job, best man or woman for the job, they have that job. And you as a leader, you delegate all the authority you possibly can to run to ensure every single thing in your alliance runs smooth as fuck. You find out the highest, most interested people. That's what it's all about. That's the main thing. If they got experience, if they got knowledge, if they've done that stuff before, or they've like, you can get so legit so quick. If you do this, maybe you a big alliance, been around a long time. Like, you got a handful of guys competed heavily, big spenders. You've done well, great. If you do the things contained in those first 3 videos, shit, maybe you're gonna beat some more people that should have beaten you. Okay, so real quick, one thing before I start talking about undermining authority as a leader, if you delegate it all out, and you have everything being run by everybody. Before I talk about that, I just forgot what I was gonna say. So let's get into it. Undermining authority. Oh, I was going to say, if you have it all delegated and you're the leader, once you have that done and you don't have anything you're managing yourself, it allows you to be an unbiased figure in the alliance where you're not managing anything, you're not micromanaging any people on anything, you're not telling anybody about whatever, but you're sitting back, you're seeing the channels, you're seeing the comms, you're hearing time to time about whatever issue, whatever problem there is, doing whatever you can behind the scenes to, if any of your officers ask you advice on something, give them the best advice that you can. The alliance, as the leader of the alliance is not seeing any direction from you as the leader at all. They're not seeing any communications from you, perhaps, either, if you're just talking to a couple of your top guys and you've been talking to them for years. I mean, I've been in, groups, teams of PvP players, and their team's been around for 2 decades. Like, they are an authoritative, delegated authority where all the officers run everything. For the alliance, the leader, you might never hear from for months. Now, maybe he himself is the best at a certain particular function, and he's always doing that one thing and that one thing only, either because he's been doing it just for years, forever, and or he personally considers himself to be the best at it, or whatever it is. But that allows you to be an unbiased party on your team, such that if you ever have to say something, like the shit goes down, you got officers, there's some sort of unresolved problem, and it needs the leader's attention, then since you have what's the word? Consumed all the information, you consumed all that news. Like, you're not overburdened and overtasked with running fucking everything. that you've been able to think. You've been able to think. First, you're monitoring and wonder how this goes, but it becomes a big problem to the point where you have to tell people what to do. Guess what? Guess what? If that happens, at that point in time, you know exactly what to tell them. Maybe you thought about it weeks before if it's an ongoing issue that takes a while to the point where, so, one of your officers tells you, like, hey, I need I need help with this. Be like, all right.
I know good. Talk to the people. And the people, this baby here, this woman.
Yeah. There's no problem. I know talking about
maybe this reason or auntie, okay?
this video right now.
Talk to this woman.
Yeah. I tell her no problem. I tell her no problem. Social, and I say no problem.
If we come here today, give me really big stupid tie, okay?
Okay. Yeah, we're in a new apartment, 7 days in, and it's a thing here in China where so I've owned and managed properties, and my dad has owned and managed a lot of them, and sold properties too, right? And in America, like I just have so much, like we as sellers or renters or whatever, like the thing is like everything we made sure it was new or in working condition before we showed it to anybody or sold it. It's not what they do in China. Like if you rent a place and you point out something working, they want to negotiate with you. Like we've moved into a bunch of places like within a few short days. So this is my 5th apartment. It'll be 6 years this October. There's been 2 where the main AC unit doesn't work. Have to hire someone. They'll repel out the side of the building, fix it. A lot of times, one of the things is like if you go to an apartment, turn on every light. We've been in apartments, go to every light switch, there'll be like 12 light bulbs that don't work. Anyways, I'm a little sick of it. There was one time we had a washing machine. My wife does the laundry, right? So I didn't notice until like 3 months in. One time I went to do the laundry, and I noticed that the thing didn't even spin. She didn't notice. The thing didn't even spin. It just goes. So it wasn't shaking the clothes. It wasn't actually cleaning the clothes. That was expensive to get that one fixed. But this time, when we saw this apartment on like the 30th or the 31st of last month, I checked everything this time. And like while we were in the apartment, the owner was in here with us. And like I checked everything, and there was one light. Like I was standing at the light, which it's right here. It's the light right here. I was standing at the light and touching the switch while the owner was looking at me, and I pointed at it while she was looking at me. I was like, this no good, right? Okay, so I had contacted her today and asked her if she was going to have someone come here, because the light bulb it's no problem, but it's like the main light over our kitchen tables right here. It's like the main light. Maybe it's a light bulb, but maybe it's a hardwired lighting fixture. I can't tell because it's not a see-through. It's this big globe dish. It's not see-through, so I don't know. So anyways, I had contacted her today, and I'd asked her, like, I told her all that information. Like, she knows it doesn't work because I pointed it out to her while I was here. And she told me that she rented out the apartment in the condition it was when we viewed it, and we should have tested everything. It's what they all do. Like I'm stupid if I don't catch it. Same thing with my previous landlord. This is our 5th place. Same conversation. I've had a conversation with them. So I'm trying to talk to her and find out like if she's the same type of landlord, and she's telling me like she's busy, she has her baby, whatever. But like I'm sending her text messages on WeChat. I ain't calling her phone. I don't speak the language. I ain't in control of her eyeball. She can look at her phone and respond in text whatever the fuck she wants to. So I don't know if you guys heard my wife say baby. So she had the landlord, well, I don't give a fuck. Yeah, you got a baby, take care of your baby. Why the fuck are you looking at the phone, bitch? You're responding to me right now, and you're supposed to take care of your baby. I don't give a fuck. You fucking look at you. I ain't in control of you touching your own phone. So she called the not a property management company, but the company that has all the listings, right? She called them to get them to tell me about her fucking baby, and text message, reply whatever you want to. I'm just trying to find out, like, if you think it's your responsibility as the owner, like straight the fuck up. I fully explained to her, like, if I'm paying to rent to use something that you own, it's not my responsibility to fix it. And then she explained to me that she thought it was. And then I explained to her, all of our experience, like I said, working condition or new. And then I said to her, if there's too many things, if you think this is a smart idea, I know it's common because people are looking to take advantage of people and get the renters that sign a contract to pay the money to pay money to fix stuff that they don't own is what people do. But it's just a light bulb. And me and my wife, this is our 5th apartment. I don't want to move again. So, it might cost like $30 to fix that. I said, I asked her how long they're going to be able to rent out the apartment. And she told me, because I don't want to move again, I might be your renter for, years. Maybe it's a good decision to take the bullet on fixing a $3 light bulb, because if we move out and it's a month or more before you have another renter in, like, that's a lot more than a $3 light bulb, right? It's basically I had the conversation I had with her. But I stopped talking. This is like 4 hours ago, and yeah, someone called my wife. That's what I got to do when I get done with this video, is find out who called her, because the landlord called the people that showed us the listing. That's never happened to me before. A landlord's never done that to me before. Half the listers that showed us the apartment tell me something about their baby. Crazy. Anyways, let's talk about undermining authority. If you are the leader, if you have everything, you have officers. You're not telling the officers. If you've watched and you've understood so far the previous videos, you're not micromanaging the officers. You got the best guy for battlefields, right? He's running the battlefields. His responsibility is, ensuring the most amount of rewards and progression for the guys on your team that have the possibility of getting their rewards. Setting people up to get qualified for major leagues that have a high probability of making it past the preliminaries, right? You're never telling the battlefields officer, he's registering people, he's determining who to be on the team based off the matchup probability you have to ensure that your top 64 seeds, so less other people, or whatever the case may be. You're giving the job completely in control to somebody as a leader. You're not micromanaging them. So let's talk about undermining authority and a few examples. So you first set up this initially. So you might not be able to do this initially, but months into it, years, because anything anyone does, the longer they do, they get better at it, right? So you might run into this initially, and this example won't be an example right off the bat if you're not set up this way already, but let's say you're years into it or a decade into it, right? You'll get to the point where a member of yours, a new member, joins, they're with you, and they start complaining to you as the leader, because that's what happens with most new alliances or whatever. The leader just gets every tell, right? Or the highest powered account gets every tell. I was the leader. I have been the highest powered account for, a year and a half, still am. That would happen to me. You get a whole lot of tells. So, okay. You get a new person that joins you, whatever the case may be. You're in a situation where all your officers are running everything well. You only very infrequently have to make a decision on anything, because all the decisions are being made by all the people that have complete responsibility for every single thing in its entirety that needs to be managed for your alliance. It's much easier for one person to get really good at managing, one specific thing that needs to be coordinated for your team than it is for 10 people to talk about everything all the time, right? So that's going on. You're in that situation. Okay, so you got a new person. They start making a complaint about whatever to you about one of the officers. Or you hear through the grapevine, they're making the complaint to someone else on your team. Me as a leader, that's when I step in. I step in during that. That's when I start telling someone what to do in brutal fashion. So the first time it happens, I just tell them, whatever subject it's about that someone's completely managing, maybe it's about battlefields. He has some question about when he'll be on the team or whatever the case may be. My first response is, if you have any questions with anything concerning battlefields, talk to the battlefields officer. Now, if I get the same person complaining to me about the same battlefields officer and the same concern and the same complaint, then, maybe in a several paragraph long message to them, I threaten them. I tell them to never do it again. I tell them how stupid they fucking are. I tell them some information I know about the officer running that stuff and how good he is at it. The threat is, this is 2 times, right? Basically, I'm just talking about what I basically say. And I tell him, if I ever hear you complain about another officer for the same thing, and you do it twice, if I ever hear that, if you ever do this shit a 3rd time, right? Because, it's the 3rd time as far as I'm concerned, right? If I ever hear you, it's only the 2nd time he's complained about the same thing to the leader twice, or I've heard he's done it, or gotten photographs of him doing it, that's when I step and I tell him, don't ever fucking do it again. Because it could be a valid complaint. So the 2nd time never would have happened, right? If it's a valid complaint and it's something that I never thought of could possibly be a problem, or some sort of new information or something people might not have thought of, and I feel like I should contact that specific officer and talk to him about it, because this guy obviously already has talked, or maybe there's been an argument, there's been an alliance mail, it's been through private messages or whatever, they had some conflict. If someone's to tell me then that they were working with him, if it's information I can see or whatever, I'm just going to let them figure it out. Now, if it's something that, is detrimentally affecting the progression of my alliance, the growth of people, like if I don't take action, it's a detriment to the alliance or to specific people or whatever it is, then I would also say something. But in general, when you give that authority to somebody, if I hear, anytime I hear a problem or fucking anything, or it's an alliance chat and I read it and then I start adding my comments too, like someone else has complete management of that, complete oversight, or trying to progress with it, make it better, whatever the task may be. It could just be coordinating rally. Everyone rallies on the alliance boss and world boss, and slowly over time they get the most amount of people in the rallies because they send out alliance mails, say people what time it's going to be. People get used to it over time. The rewards aren't that great for the world boss and alliance boss hits for the alliance rewards. Mostly the alliance rewards are bullshit. But whatever the case may be, whatever they're fully managing, they have to have complete control with nobody else's input. Because if they're arguing with somebody back and forth, you get an officer arguing with somebody back and forth in private or public or whatever, if you just immediately step in, right? Maybe it's just one of your full members that doesn't have a specific job. If you just immediately step in and you take the one guy that isn't responsible for it, hasn't been spending, hours and however long thinking about making it better and spending time typing, putting in time and effort to coordinate. If you immediately step in, maybe you take the person not running it, maybe you take their side. You do any of that shit, you are undermining the authority that like, this is key. If you do that, you are, as the leader, you are undermining the authority that you were presenting and giving the appearance that you have delegated the authority. Do you understand? This is a very key thing. If you do something like that, the examples I talked about, you are undermining the authority that you have given, and it's not a true, good working, competitive game that will succeed extremely well in PvP if the leader is managing anything. No, it's only the best, it's only perfect, it might be mostly delegated authority, it's only perfectly set up if the leader is only stepping in when he feels it is of extreme significance that he tells someone managing something that, no, we need to do it a specific way because of this. You don't say, I think I should do it this way because that's my opinion and I'm entitled to my opinion and everybody's entitled to your opinion, and we got all these opinions and we want to be all inclusive and everything we say sounds good to anyone reading it, and then you just got a shit show going on. So that's the leadership that's been on 1468 in all the alliances that have ever been here except for Legendary, but we all left Legendary and now we're in KORT. Knights of the Round Table Camelot. A bunch of this guy's alliance members call him King in chat. The R5, this guy right here, Mr. Anderson. You can't come up with something original. You gotta name him after Keanu Reeves' character. Maybe his last name is Anderson. I don't know. But yeah, I looked at their server before the merge, and I went to the Wonder, and I saw the previous kings. His name was listed like, I don't know, I should have counted them. It was more than 10 times. They got a One Alliance server. And we're in the 1400s. They got a One Alliance server. Fucking Knights of the Round Table Camelot. Fucking, it's such a noob name for your alliance. People are calling him King in chat. Like, he was king like so many times. You know who was the first king on the server after the server merge? He was the first king on the server after the server merge. Or was it that SBS weekend? Yeah, that SBS weekend. Yeah, he got thrown. So they had merged with the enemy alliance. We were in Bubble or Burn, and still, after the merger happened, as soon as they merged, you're in Bubble or Burn too. Everyone from your server. So yeah, we hear like everyone. We've had some falling outs. Like everyone already agreed. Like we don't want to screw up everybody's talons. Like no reason to bail on them now. But yeah, these guys do not want to work with me. Any request or suggestion or whatever, they're just not going to respond to, not communicate over, or they're just going to steal the idea, do it themselves, and then, I've given these guys a lot of advice since I've been here. That the one guy, Oriel, he took a lot of the advice, but they are implementing a lot of my ideas. But yeah, these guys don't want to work with me. I guess they don't know how. I don't know. This Mr. A guy, the other thing about him, he got a wife and 3 kids. Like he sent it many multiple times, so he can just, whether it's true or not, he can just say that at any time to bail out of whatever the fuck he wants to. Whether he read it or not, he can just say, "Oh yeah, I missed that because I was busy with my kids." I like communicating through voicemail, so he can say he didn't listen to it. He was busy with his kids, so he can. Anyone mentions that, can't say anything in chat, but yeah, he can. We get a leader that ain't a leader, has no leadership experience ever. So he just somehow, it's very easy in video games. I've seen it a lot. It's very easy to manipulate your way into the position of being the leader on a team on a video game, and having no leadership experience before, and effectively not leading a team to any good rewards or decision making or accomplishments. They get some all-star dragons, so like they know what to do in a small team to get some all-star dragons. They've done that. So, but when you get to do that, like this is a big team. Like if you want to lead well in Chalons, it's a whole team. Like obviously you got to work with the strongest account, and these guys just, they don't have any interest. They're going to be too stubborn, and yeah, I don't know if we'll place top 100. We're going to try. They're supposed to go to our alliance and legendary next Chalons, get us an alliance castle too. Now we wouldn't do that if the third alliance, right, before the server merges, it was 2 alliances, but those guys bailed. If the third alliance would also agree that we should all form under one banner, then we would just stay in, in their alliance. Their alliance has the most alliance science done, so it makes you got to choose one alliance everybody's in, and what's the only thing to consider? Which one has the most alliance science then, right? But yeah, this guy doesn't delegate authority to anyone. No one has a particular job or responsibility, and that just results in no one doing anything or not coming to a final resolution on exactly what needs to be implemented. It's a bunch of everybody's opinions. Everyone wants to state their opinion, and yeah, if you have a delegated authority structure where you initially find the best people for each job, right? You got the best people that are most highly interested or the best at it or have already been managing that for your alliance. You give them complete control of it. Guess what's up then? You don't have to read everybody's fucking opinions about what's going to change or what else is going to be further implemented, or if we do this, it'll cause this to be better. All that stuff will be managed by particular people that they want to spend their time playing the game, do that certain thing. And then if you're able to incorporate that, then the officers are the leadership. Then they actually are the leadership of the alliance. If you incorporate that, then they actually are the leaders of the alliance, right? Seemingly on a day-to-day basis. Most of the time, right? And at that point, and that's why you want to have to, as a leader, step in and give your opinion or say what to do in as fewest time as possible to maintain that. Everyone knows you're the leader, and want to do that as fewest times as possible, such that also when you do step in and you do say something, it's almost at the point, if it's long enough, your alliance members are just waiting to hear something from you, right? If you get the point to where the comms from you as the leader can be virtually zero for like weeks in a row, if you ever do have to say something, everybody's all ears. If you ask someone to do something, like they already know you've thought about it a lot because you've been an unbiased person, not arguing back and forth or whatever, and you've already thought about what the best resolution is. So when you say, hey guys, I heard there was a problem with this, what we're going to do is XYZ from now on so it resolves all the issues, that's the end of the conversations. No one's argues with you because they're used to, the previous months and months and months going on where all the times you as the leader have stepped in and you've given the best possible, suggestion of how to fix the problem, and they just already know from years of experience. I've been on teams that been playing a game for well, at this point in time, they're playing that game for 26 years. I stopped playing the game. I've been playing this one for a little bit over two. So I played that game, 24 years. There was one time I took a 1 year break, and one time I took a 2 year break. But other than that, I played that game, almost 20 years. EverQuest. Um, best teams, all those guilds. I mean, there used to be thousands of guilds. Now there's hundreds. But I've been on those teams in the top 10. I've been on three of them. They're all a rank and file system with delegated authority. And a lot of times, one more important thing to say, piece of information. I've gotten several comments where people they know I'm retired from the Navy, from military service, and they say that's how the military is set up. Well, it's not specifically set up that way, but each individual command, where like you have a ship, right, and you have the captain of the ship, and the E1 lowest crew member, that's referred to as a command. Internally on that ship, they are a rank and file system, hopefully of delegated authority. But the way the officer position works is if you're a career officer, like first you go as a new officer and you got to learn everything, right? 3 years, then you go to shore duty for 2. Your next time out, you're going to go be a department head. You get trained for 2 years to be a department head on your next, or do they get, yeah, I think it's 32 and 3 to be a department head. Now, if you go out there and you wanted to be the department head that had the easiest job, sometimes you don't have the best people for the job that have the job. But typically in the military, the smaller the command is, the better the command is. I worked on submarines, so I saw some real good leadership, but I saw some horrible leadership as well. Because also on a sub, if the captain's got bad leadership, it can be real bad. Like they in a closed environment, most of the time, majority of the time, 95% of the time, no one except for the crew, no one except for who he's in charge of is in that crew. So if you got a bad captain on a submarine, you ain't gonna have a leader that gets you killed. It ain't gonna be that bad, but in that enclosed off environment, it can be real bad if you got a real bad captain. Tell you what. But yeah, that's what I want to talk. Sorry about the blow up from my spouse. So what can I do? I ain't gonna make the video again. And people that watch my videos in the past, they already know I don't care what people think about me. It is what it is. All right, guys, that's a wrap.